You're listening to Evolving Moons Podcast with Jess and Katie.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
We're back with another episode. It's a great episode. I'm really hyped for this episode.
She is very hyped. She has been talking my ear off for like 2 days. Like, I just get, whenever she gets a good idea, I just get like paragraphs in my on my text messages, and like I'm not gonna lie, I don't even read them all the time because
big bubble.
I know that you're just gonna like go off in person, so I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yes, like you're excited.
We literally just did a whole episode basically talking about this episode before we started filming.
I know, we should.
I just talked for like a whole fucking hour.
We should just record as we are first talking about it, because
like,
it's a whole episode.
It's like ugly talking though. I don't know how to say it properly yet, and like my thoughts are jumbled.
But we're probably like very raw.
We are
in it, you know,
which may or may not be good. Anywho,
it could be good.
We already picked a card. Katie picked a card.
Yeah, so maybe we're just gonna like pick the card before we go into it. We're talking. What now? We're feeling it out. Whatever.
Yeah.
So today topic
is
maybe start with that.
Topic is kind of women empowerment. We're going to be talking about women empowerment for the next couple of episodes, but today's topic is basically just about shit that girls go through, that we go through from a very young age, that basically kind of teach us that we're different from men. Like things that young girls have to experience that men don't necessarily experience, or they experience different things. Things that young girls experience that make them uncomfortable. Things that young girls experience and like adolescent into full-grown women experience that kind of shape like who we are, how we act, how we handle ourselves, and really why like the feminist movement is such a big movement right now, what feminism means, all of that.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot we could talk about.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about this, you know, she was going off with all of her down with the patriarchy, like women empowerment spiel. But, you know, when we are creating our podcasts, we always want to have, you know, some kind of message, some point that we can give you guys.
Also, we don't just want to like come on here and just be talking shit. You know, like this episode can definitely be taken as like a fuck men episode, but it's not. Like that's not our point. Our point is just to point out that this shit happens to girls. It happens all the time. It's happened to me. It's happened to Katie. It's happened to basically every female that we know, which is crazy and not okay. It's not, though, saying that every man acts like this. It's not saying that there aren't great men fighting for feminism.
Going into this, we wanted to have, you know, a point. Like, yes, we believe in all this women empowerment, and we want to talk about the issues that we went through and what other women go through all the time. So we went into this doing a reading to try and navigate, you know, where we wanted to go with this.
Yeah.
And so going into the reading, I just asked, what can we do to power and uplift women?
Right.
It was pretty simple.
Yeah.
And I pulled this card. We're using the moon deck. And it says, healthy boundaries keep me centered and balanced. And it actually has Aronalea? I think I'm saying it right.
Hopefully. Sorry if we're not.
Yeah, sorry. I met you. You're beautiful. Sorry. It's her face, but she's like...
She's like a goddess.
Like a goddess. I should really do more research when I explain things. But...
yeah, she's like feeling herself, embracing herself, also doing this cute little hand thing for like tranquility and peace. And then she's also holding up moons, like contrasting moons in her hands.
That's really cute.
Yeah, super cute.
But basically this card was it says healthy boundaries keep me centered and balanced.
Yeah.
Did I already say that?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, anyways, and we liked this card because, you know, we were talking in our conversation, our pre-podcast conversation that we always have. We talked about, you know, all of our points that we're going to talk about today, and all the negative things that we go through as women.
Yeah.
And then I pulled this card, and I think boundaries are a very huge topic that go overlooked. So.
Yeah, I think that we were hyping it up so much. We were talking so much about like all this crap that we go through, everything that's unfavorable, everything that makes us uncomfortable. And this card is telling us that basically from that, what we need to take away from it is we need to set our boundaries. As women, something that is going to provide us with a lot of strength and make us feel empowered is setting clear, pointed boundaries And we need to not allow people to cross them. And if they do cross them, we need to stand up for ourselves against it, because unfortunately society has not provided these super clear boundaries as well as it should be provided for people. Boundaries are still, I don't know, like blurred lines, I guess. I don't know why. I mean, I feel like it's pretty fucking cut and dry, but I guess it's not. So as a woman, set your fucking boundaries. That's our whole point here, I guess, as we talk through all of this crap. And I'm sure most girls watching this will be like, oh yeah, that's happened to me, or like that happened even worse to me, or like
one point that I think is good to start off with in the description, it said, when you don't set boundaries, you like give away too much is what happens. And I think that goes very true for all the scenarios that we're going to talk about right now.
Okay, so starting off this episode, like we're kind of jumbled, but I think we're going to start from things that happen to girls, specifically things that have happened to us from a young age moving into adulthood, that have made us set certain boundaries. So I think the first one that we want to talk about is when you're a young girl, it's a very common thing for people to tell you that if a boy is being mean to you, it's because he likes you. Like if a boy's flicking you, or he's throwing sand at you on the playground, or like he keeps like stealing your crayons when you're trying to color, or like I don't know what else happens when you're a kid, but little annoyances, or like even being mean, like calling names, or just being like you're ugly, like it's always said like, oh well, that's because he likes you, like that's cute, just ignore it if you don't like it, or like take it as a compliment, like he just thinks that you're pretty. And I think, okay, first of all, that's not fucking okay. Like do not like do not just allow that behavior. Boys should not pick on you because they like you. Boys should say they like you. Like, be assertive. But also, for the girl, the boundary that you need to set there, and ones that, like, I'm definitely going to teach my kids if I have girls. And actually, I kind of, like, had to do this with Stephanie. Like, not that I'm her parent, my younger sister, but she had this boy when she was, like, young in school. And how our elementary school was set up was, like, there was a kindergarten area, and then there was a fence that separated the kindergarten area from 1st through 3rd grade, and then 4th and 5th were on the other side of the school. So I was in, I think, 3rd grade, and she was in kindergarten. And she had this boy that was really mean to her and, like, always would pick on her. And her and I would meet at the fence, and she would tell me, like, about this boy did this today, this boy did this today, and he pulled my hair, and he threw macaroni at me when we were making our pasta things with glue. And I would always tell her, like, go over there and smack him. Like, go over there and fucking tell him you don't like that shit. You know? Because everybody else, not that you should teach your kids to hit other kids, but everybody else is just like, oh, well, it's because he likes you. And it's like, why is he treating you bad because he likes you? That, first of all, that sets you up for abuse later on. You know, like, oh, he's cheating on me. That must mean he really likes me. Like, no. But that boundary for her, she didn't know how to set it yet. I mean, she's in kindergarten. And I mean, I'm happy that I at least could tell her that in the 3rd grade. But so many girls don't have, like, siblings or parents that teach them these things. And that's crazy, like, to just allow.
I was lucky because, you know, my mom has always been pretty on it, you know? I have a kindergarten story. So when I was in kindergarten, at the school I went to in Southern California, we did this thing where it was like during recess, the girls would chase the boys, and during lunch, the boys would chase the girls. I don't know. It was like a playing thing.
Whatever, kids are weird.
Like all the cool kids did that. Yeah. So obviously it was me. So, but during lunch one day, I had this boy who like had a crush on me, I guess, and he and his like little ring buddies, like ringleader. He was like a ringleader, and there was like these 2 or 3 other boys. They all start chasing me. So I have like these 3 or 4 boys chasing me because this one guy has a crush on me, and I get pushed up against a fence, like being held down by these other boys so that like the main boy could kiss me. And I'm in fucking kindergarten.
Oh my god.
He kisses me, and I punch him in the mouth, or I punch him, and he gets a bloody nose.
Yeah, good.
And I get sent to the principal's office, and I get in trouble, and they call my mom, and my mom has to come down.
Oh my god.
And she was like, oh, she was like, they were like, oh, well, like, Caitlin punched a boy, and she was like, what? And the first words out of my mom's mouth were, well, what were they doing? What did the guys do? And they were and then I explained to them, I guess I don't, my mom tells me, I kind of remember the story, but my mom has also told the story. And they were like, oh, well, they kissed him, they kissed her or something, and so she punched him, and that's not okay. And she was like, they wanted to suspend me, right?
Yeah.
And my mom was like, oh, so I need to call the police for this man sexually assaulting this kid sexually assaulting my daughter. And then they were all what? What do you mean? And my mom was livid. She was like, you called me out of work because my daughter was defending herself
against somebody who was trying to
and no one saw the issue there until my mom stepped in.
Right.
And she fucking set that boundary. She was like, no, this isn't fucking okay,
I feel like that's a really common thing for young girls, and this is something that we also want to talk about, is the whole boys will be boys standard that is so upheld in schools for some reason, which is crazy. But that's not normal behavior. To pin someone down or to corner them and to make them do anything that they don't want to do is not okay. And you retaliating by the only way that you felt that you could, to get away, should not be punished. It should be hello, you put this girl in an uncomfortable situation. She couldn't get away from you. Therefore, she punched you in the face. Do you understand that? Yeah. It shouldn't be oh, well, you can't hit people. It's okay. What were you supposed to do? Allow? Because then learning that in kindergarten sets you up for in high school when somebody tries to do something like that to you.
Letting them
rape you.
Get in trouble.
Right. Okay, so that goes into my high school story. I guess we'll just go right into there.
We're moving along. Oh, wait,
but
then we're... Okay.
It's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
In high school, it was my freshman year, we were going to football games. It was a cool thing to do. We'd stay for the JV and then stay into the late night varsity games, whatever, with my friends. My little sister came with me, and she wasn't even in high school yet. It was the beginning of the year. It was my first or second football game ever. And I brought alcohol. Me and my friends filled up a water bottle, a plastic water bottle. I know, full of vodka. And we were drinking it at the football game, whatever. And then I was football fields are around, there's a track around it.
Yeah.
So I'm at the one end, far end of the track, and it's kind of dark, and there's a bunch of trees where I went to high school. And so I'm back in that area, and there's a bunch of the JV boys circled. We're all kind of talking, whatever. We were playing catch back there, and then they I'm not that drunk. I've not even drinking half of a water bottle full of alcohol, which is 2 shots, 3 shots, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, a water bottle,
Okay.
Anywho. We're talking, and then they start circling around me, and I'm getting freaked out. Why are all these boys standing around me? And they're let's go back behind the bleachers. Somebody take her arm, somebody grab her hand. Let's go back over there. And I'm no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. And then they're no, come on. Don't be fucking lame. They're calling me names. I'm what the fuck? Get the fuck out of my face. And then they start circling in closer. I'm literally in a circle of at least 8 guys. And they start to get closer to me. So the dude in front of me, I push him. I don't know who it is. I'm freaking out. I push him off of me, and I turn around and just punch. I just punched nothing. I just was just going. I hit a dude in the face, and he falls. He falls flat down onto the ground. And I'm oh fuck. And then I'm oh my god, I punched a guy in the face, and I gotta go. So I'm running away, and all these football players are you'll be fucking sorry, we're gonna find you, and they're chasing me, and my first thought is oh my god, my little sister's here. I'm running, I go find her, I'm Stephanie, we gotta go, I punched someone in the face, I gotta go, we run away, I'm calling my mom, come pick us up, I can't drive, I'm come pick us up, I punched someone, running away, I'm running through the school, these girls, along with the JV football team, is chasing me through the school. Fuck you, we're gonna get you, you'll regret that, whatever. Get to school, it was on a Friday night football. Get to school on Monday, get called in the principal's office, they're you're suspended because you punched a student in the face. And I was but, they were trying to, get me to go to the bleachers, they were trying to, do things to me, what do you mean, what was I supposed to do? And then they were we heard you were drinking, so how do you even know if that's really what happened? And I was because I wasn't drunk. And they were oh, so you know your alcohol limits at age fucking 13, 14? You probably have an alcohol problem. And then they tried to give me cards for a rehab facility. And the guy was, my principal at the time, a dude.
How
was
does,
like,
but like,
oh, he was the dean.
You should have told him you were drinking. How did they know you were drinking?
The guys told them.
Yeah, they could have been lying.
Yeah, but whatever. I didn't care. I wasn't ashamed of it. But
yeah.
My mom knew. You know, she dropped me off. Like, anywho, that happens, and then my mom gets called down to the office, and my mom's like, she was not that drunk. I picked her up. I know, you know. And they were the whole time just trying to tell me that because I had drank, that I have no idea what was going on to me, and that therefore I punched the dude in the face. The guy never got in trouble. I didn't get suspended, but I had to go to like detention every day for like 2 weeks after school until like fucking dinner time. Whatever. It was stupid, but just goes along to the whole thing of like, boys are never taught that behavior isn't okay. That's just like, oh, well, they're football boys and she was drunk. And, you know, it's like, it just fucking amplifies rape culture. So, high school sucks.
It does.
Okay, so I feel like I've complained about my stories enough, and we're getting off topic, so we want to go ahead and switch it back.
Bring it on back.
And we're going to talk about other things that happen to young girls that kind of teach them that they're different, or just point out the fact that they are girls and they're treated differently. One of them being dress codes.
Yeah, dress codes are a huge one. And I think we've seen a lot of this, especially lately. I see a lot of social media posts about it.
Yes.
So I think it's great that people are talking about this.
Yeah.
But nothing has really been done about it.
Right. But at least it's being talked about. I mean, this was not even a discussion when we were in school.
Yeah.
So dress codes, like what we mean by that is in middle school you have to wear...
And high school.
And high school even, yeah. But middle school was like really odd because you're so young and like you're just hitting puberty, and like people just like... Some people like are starting to have their periods, and there's just an odd time to like then sexualize a girl. You know, it's like you're still like learning about your body.
Yeah.
So in middle school, for us, our middle school dress codes is like your tank top strap has to be like 2 inches or however thick, like 2 fingers wide, so 1.5 inches, whatever. Your bra straps can't be showing. At my middle school, I couldn't wear leggings because they were too tight.
Yeah.
Like they showed my butt too much. As a fucking 11 or 12-year-old, like, shorts had to be longer than your fingertip length. If your hands were like flat against your side, which is odd because shorts fit people differently based on their height and body type. Yeah. Like something that we were talking about earlier, like before we started filming, was certain girls, like, you know, there's girls in middle school that are getting developed, and like we had boobs in middle school, you know. Like
I had boobs and a butt.
Yeah, I didn't really have a butt, but I mean, I have fucking boobs, so things would fit and like shape me differently than like a girl who had not gone through puberty yet, was still wearing like a training bra, was super skinny. You know, I was like a little bit thicker. Like I
had like Victoria's Secret bras, and I was like 12, and it's like blasphemy, but it's like I'm not wearing a fucking limited 2 bra with my fucking
I like wanted to wear limited 2 bras so bad because everybody else in the locker rooms wore limited 2 bras, and I felt weird for like having a whole ass bra. And my mom was like, "No, honey, your boobs are C's. You need a bra." And I'm like, "I just want the limited 2 one that's neon pink with that fucking monkey on it." Like, but
good times.
Anywho, the whole idea of dress coding in middle school, we were told that it's because boys can't handle themselves. Like, oh, you're distracting the boys because your shoulders are showing? Like, what?
It's just so weird because we're all underage. Like, no matter what school age you're in, you're all underage.
Yes.
And we're all being sexualized.
By adults.
Because they're worried about their boys.
Being distracted. But really, who are you worried about? I'm confused because
so weird.
We would be asked to stand up or like to be pulled aside in the middle of the quad during lunch or break time, and our male vice principal would walk around and be like, "Put your hands down to your sides and measure our shorts." Why are you looking that closely at my booty when I'm fucking 12? That's weird. You're a grown-ass man. You know? I got
stopped by the vice principal at my high school, but it was a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm walking to class, just like minding my own business, and she stops me right as like the bells, like the warning bells ringing, you know. And she was like, "Oh, like your shorts are a little short there. Like, can you put your hands down?" And it's like 90 degrees outside. They were not inappropriate. They were like American Eagle, like like they weren't even like I wear a lot of like ripped jeans now, but back then that wasn't allowed. They had to be like the clean cut, like the rolled, you know, like the clean cut shorts. And right in that moment, this tiny little girl walks by with her ass hanging out. And I was like, you have bigger fish to fry. Can you walk me to class, please? Because now you've made me late. And she was like, ugh. That was a great me setting my boundary badass woman moment. And I must have been like a sophomore. I was probably a sophomore when that happened. So it was like, that was one of those moments that I look back on. I was like, hell yeah, like go Caitlin.
Yeah, what the heck? Well, but also like, what I never understood is, what do they expect you to wear? Like cargo shorts? Like, find me the short.
I'm 5'8".
Yeah.
At that point, like, my butt was pretty nice, you know, like, and
well, you're in high school, you're more developed, like, you're probably doing sports.
And I have long legs. I'm a tall girl. I have long legs.
Right.
Like, my butt was not out at all.
Yeah.
Fingertips are not a thing on me. I'm so tall, so, like, my arms are hella long.
Right.
And it's like, the fingertip rule is stupid.
Well, for me, it's like the opposite. My torso is so freaking short that, like, my fingertip goes half the way down my thigh. Like, so, what do you want me to wear? Also, yeah,
it's fucking 90. It's hot outside. Like, what the hell?
It's just so dumb. Like,
you know,
why is that the lesson? Like, you can't wear this because boys are gonna stare at you. Therefore, you need to change what you're doing, what you buy, how you look, in order to keep these boys in line. Like, no, teach the boys to stay the fuck in their lane. Like, don't look at girls' butts when they walk by. You don't need to be doing that all the time, you know?
And I think another place that this kind of stems from, which this might be controversial and yet brave, is, like, your parents.
Yes.
Like, a dad telling his daughter, like, not to dress like that.
Yes.
Like, as a dad, you're sexualizing your daughter. That's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay, yeah, so my mom listens to this podcast. I don't know if she'll appreciate this or not, but there were definitely times when I was younger that I'd be acting however I was acting. Like, this is more behavioral, but it happened with my clothes too. And she would say, like, oh, are you sure you want to act like that? Are you sure you want to wear that? Like, people might think this of you. Meaning labels, you know, like, people might think that you're slutty, or like, I could understand why you're being called that because look at what you're wearing. And it's like, no, you, first of all, don't fucking slut shame anybody. Bang whoever you want, bang as many people as you want. I don't care. Safely. But do it. It doesn't matter. You know, like, when boys have a high body count, they're like a fucking king. They're like, yes, bitch, like, you have banged all these beautiful women. And then when girls have a high body count, it's like, oh my god, ew, she's trash. Like, I need a virgin. Like, what? Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Anywho, being a slut is not a real thing. But how you dress does absolutely nothing towards your actions. Like, if you're going to say that, like, being a quote-unquote slut is a behavioral thing, then why is that affected by what you wear? Like, that makes no sense at all. I should be able to walk around in the nude, and it's just my body. It's not like, oh, look,
society's not gonna let that happen.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Well,
it's like
crop tops. Okay, here's a side story. I was in, like, 3rd or 4th grade, and I got this devil costume. It was so cute. It was like Spice Girls meets devil costume. It was, like, so cute. It was, like, sparkly and red, you know?
Yeah.
But the top was, like, a triangle, kind of like crop top, you know? You know, that,
I know
look,
that exact top.
that look. And my parents made me wear, like, a fucking shirt under it. And I was, like, pissed the whole day. I'm what? 8, 9?
Yeah.
I'm like 9 years old.
Yeah.
And they're making me, like, they're ruining my in my head, I'm like, you're ruining my costume.
Devils don't wear undershirts.
And I was just, like, heartbroken, you know? And I was like, my whole Halloween day was ruined because I had to wear this fucking shirt. And I didn't understand why. And they were, like, trying to explain to me, like, oh, that's not appropriate, like, for a little girl to be wearing a crop top. And I'm like, fucking why?
Yeah.
Like, I wear crop tops all the time now. Like,
right.
No one's complaining.
Currently
wearing a crop top. And no one fucking complains now, so, like, what was the issue back then?
These are lessons that young girls are taught. Like, you didn't even know that would be inappropriate. To you, in your head, you're like, that's a cute shirt. I look like a devil. You're not thinking, like, oh my god, I'm going to attract so many boys with this.
I was like, I want to be a double Spice Girl. I loved the Spice Girls when I was younger, so I was, and it was like a Britney, Christina Aguilera, Spice Girl vibe. I was like, that's what I was going for, and they were like, no, you can't do that. What?
Why? Yeah, what?
My costume was ruined.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a fucking devil in a crop top this year, goddammit.
Okay, so we're gonna try and wrap it up a little bit, but we do want to talk about one last thing, and that is gender roles.
Yes.
So gender roles meaning just everything, like jobs, what women are quote unquote supposed to act like in their adult lives, a couple of terms that girls are taught when they're a little bit younger, at least like in middle school for us, was like the "go make me a sandwich" joke.
Oh yeah, we were talking about like Spencer's has that shirt.
It's like, oh cool story, babe.
Yeah,
go make me a sandwich. Like, who cares what girls are saying? Their job is to cook. Like
to
what
serve
even
men.
is the point? Yeah, like
our job is to serve men.
Yeah, like I don't care what you're talking about, but just provide me with food. Like, okay.
And that stems from like a very
that's so old
side history. I've taken women's history,
yes.
And that just stems from like a long line of women having to be subservient to men and like not being equal and not even being considered a person. They were property.
Yeah.
So that's hard. It's been a long, hard road to break, and it's awesome that we are where we are at today. Like, we can sit here and we can make this podcast and have a job.
Yes.
And do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, exactly.
We can go get our own library card without your husband's consent.
We can vote.
We can vote, yeah. There's so many things, and there's like little things that we take for granted now, but it's like, that's really awesome because
really
so many people have
advocated
for things like that, and that's great, but there's still this underlining like status quo.
Yeah, like the stigma.
Yeah, like the stigma.
Being a wife, being a woman, like what a woman's duties are. Or, like, how a marriage should look even. Like we were talking before the podcast about single dads versus like single moms.
Or like not single, like stay at home dads.
Yeah, and it's like it's very common and like not even questioned if the woman is a stay at home mom.
Yeah.
But people in society, even us, it's like we see a stay at home dad and you're like, oh, that's odd.
Yeah.
But it's like,
why is that job, there used to be a stay at home dad that bring in his kids, and I'd be like, in my head, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of weird, but then I'd have to like correct myself and be like, that's fucking rad.
That's
like,
awesome.
Behind every stay-at-home dad, there's a badass fucking...
Hell yeah.
There's a badass mom in the back who's fucking the sugar mama.
Exactly. And, like, women, I feel like at, like, younger and, like, through... Even, like, when you're starting to get into the workforce, you're kind of, like... I don't know if it's necessarily taught or if it's just, like, how society makes you feel that you can't hold these high jobs or, like, these money-making jobs, these, like, boss, CEO... fucking like big title jobs. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it is still true that more men hold those positions than women, and it is still true that men in those positions get paid more than women in those positions. Yeah. That is something that hopefully will change in the future.
That's just why has that not changed already?
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Wild.
Well, that's the same thing with sports. Like there was that big issue about like the Olympic soccer team, the men's soccer team getting paid like millions of dollars more than the women's soccer team, and the women's soccer team had come in first place.
Yeah, they just won
3 years in a row, and the men's soccer team was like third, and they still got paid like triple the amount in millions of dollars. And
there was that whole when the Apple Card came out. Like the Apple credit card came out.
Yeah.
The CEO of Apple and his wife they spoke out because they both applied to get the credit card from Apple, and even though they like are married, they're like the same net worth, basically. He was given a larger credit than his wife, and they were like, "What the fuck's up with that?"
I feel like
what do you think would be backwards because the stigma is like women want to spend all the money,
right?
Weird.
I feel like this is just so important to talk about. Like we're talking about setting boundaries here, and all of these things bring up issues to where you set boundaries, but it's a bigger thing than that. Like this needs to be talked about in schools. This needs to be taught. This needs to be continued to be taught through higher education even. Like I think that people should have to take like sex ed classes or like some sort of like equality classes mandatory in college even, because the information is so much greater at that point, and that's where so many issues are too. Like there's a ton of issues with college boys and like rape issues and like inequality at school, especially on like that level. And it's such a bigger issue than just girls setting their own boundaries. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we cannot change the world right now in this one podcast, which is why we're talking about women setting their own boundaries, because that's something that we can do.
Yeah.
You know?
But also I asked the card, you know, like what can we do to empower and uplift women?
Yes.
And one of those things is teaching
boundaries.
Yeah.
To everybody.
Yeah. So it's like we should all be setting these boundaries for ourselves to not protect ourselves, but like kind of to protect yourself, like to protect your spirit, you know, like
or to
setting
like
boundaries.
Respect yourself.
Yeah. Setting the boundaries that you need and that you want to be successful, not in life, but also just like
as a human,
like spiritually successful. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a better term for that, but
to make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, be centered, be balanced.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry.
Whatever.
I forgot
what I was saying. The message that we're trying to say here, I guess, is that you can do these things currently, right now, absolutely for yourself. And although, as strong women, we want to change everything, and we will fight to do so, these are things that for you in your own home, within your own self, can do to be empowered, to feel strong, to not feel as vulnerable, maybe, to make yourself feel more comfortable. All of those good positive words. Like, boundaries are totally your own. And that's just, I don't know, I feel like that's really important.
Yeah. Well said. Beautifully said.
Thanks. I try. You know.
We just changed the world.
Yeah.
With our podcast.
Wow. I feel like
women are equal.
That's really like what I fucking hope that we can do one day. I hope that we get so famous on this podcast that we just have like the dopest platform and we can really fucking cause some change. That's like a great goal. That's
spark outrage.
I'm gonna manifest that.
Okay. You do that.
I'm gonna. Well, okay, that's
all right. Yeah, that's the end. All right, so thanks for watching / listening.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this. We kind of ranted, but we hope you enjoyed our stories and you are feeling empowered and uplifted.
Yeah.
No matter what your gender is.
Heck yeah.
How do you say that? Like, no matter how you identify. That's what I was like. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But anyways, make sure to
like, subscribe, comment, share. Yeah.
Give us ideas.
Yeah, we would love ideas for new episodes, whatever you'd like to hear us talk about, or like stories. I would love to share like other people's stories.
Oh, that could be cute.
You know, that could be really cool. Like,
it could be anonymous, or we could do like first name basis. Like,
yeah, or initials. We don't care. However you want to present yourself. I feel like this is a cool thing. Like, that's helpful for people, is to talk about their issues. Like, that's helped us with this podcast. We've talked a lot about personal things, and I feel like for us, it's really cool to like get that out there. And like, we don't know everybody that's listening, you know, personally. So it's very therapeutic.
It's very interesting to see like who has been listening,
following along. Yeah,
following and listening. You guys are coming out of the woodwork. It's really nice.
It's really nice. But yeah, if you want to share anything, we would love to share your stories too. This is specifically for like this episode and the next episode on women empowerment. Like, it's very common for girls to experience the things that we've experienced, and even on like a greater level. So if you would like to contribute, we would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a wonderful rest of your week, rest of your day, whenever you're listening to this. We love you a lot.
We love you. Wait, can you turn it off?
No.
I wanted to get on your bubbly.
What the?
At least you'll do it for a bubbly.
I love bubbly.